Now we're back again. It's been about 3 weeks, I think, since we did a video. Lots of stuff going on in the background, but we're back. Not gonna lie, the last time we were here, I was doing the neck angle on sanding that down to get it right. That was an absolute pain. It really was. Properly hard work. Just because the wood's so hard, but that's all looking good now. Yeah, it's a really long process. Today we are going to start filling pores. We're going to be using this stuff, Z-Poxy finishing resin. 30 minutes this one takes to dry. So it comes in two parts, a resin and a hardener. Gives you about 30 minutes. We're going to spread that on and get those pores filled. Could be 2, maybe even 3 coats. We'll see how we go. Yeah, we'll time lapse that and we'll see you when we get back. Right, well, it's done. It went okay. Still feels a little bit tacky to touch. I don't know if that's because of how I let it dry or I didn't use enough hardener in it. I'm going to try and I'm going to scrape it with a razor blade or a Stanley knife blade just to see what happens. If it comes off like a powder, then it's alright. If it's all gummy, then not brilliant. But we can have a second coat of this anyway. So I'm going to sand this all back so it's all dull, so we can see where there are any low spots, and then we're going to do it again. Hopefully we won't need to do any more than a second coat, but if we need to do a third, we'll do a third. It's looking pretty good. It's actually come out as a really nice finish of wood as well. If I wasn't painting it, leave it like that. It actually looks really nice. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with that. So I'm going to get you close up here to see if you can see what I mean. You can see that looks pretty nice and shiny, but if I start to move the light around, you can just see those valleys where the sandpaper hasn't touched it yet. That means that those pores are still a little bit too low. So hopefully one more coat of that stuff, sand it back, and we'll be good to go. Right, excuse the absolute nightmare fuel that is my shed, by the way, but we're back again. It's been about 3 weeks since we did anything on the guitar. Last we did some sanding off of all the pore filler. Did another coat of that and sanded that off. I didn't film that because it was an absolute nightmare, and I'm kicking myself for not getting hold of a rotary sander. My hands and arms are absolutely killing me. So I finished it off yesterday. It's all nice and flat, it's all nice and smooth, all the pores are filled up nicely. And today we are sanding sealer the body and the neck. So I'm going to wipe it down with a tack cloth and then give it a couple of coats of that, 3 coats of that total, and we'll see how we get on. And like I said, please excuse the nightmare fuel that is my shed. I do plan on fixing all that pretty soon. So here we go, here goes nothing. Fight number 2. Oh, it's the horse. Right, third coat, and this one's going to have to be really quick because in typical British style, it started bloody raining, hasn't it? So we're going to have to do this one quick, so bear with. Right, job done. Hello again, everybody. It's been a while again. We're just doing some little jobs now over the weekend. Well, actually, it's midweek. It's not even the weekend. It's the last place we were. We put the sanding sealer on and sorted all that out. This morning, forgot to start filming that process because I'm an idiot. But I actually put the tuning pegs on. And there's a reason for that, but I'm going to show you what they are right now. So let's have a quick look. So we've got guy cut locking tuners. Very reasonably priced these were. I've actually put all 6 of them in and then taken 4 out of the middle. And the reason for that is we're about to set the neck in. And when I set the neck, I want to make sure that it's parallel, so I want to put the high E and the low E string on so I can check it down the fretboard to make sure it's parallel when I put that on. We've also, this morning, just taped off the rest of the fretboard again and part of the neck, just in prep for paint. Obviously I've left this part, which I've scuffed up a little bit because that's where the glue is going to go. So we're going to glue that in hopefully tomorrow, if I get some time. So that's a big part of the job, doing it out of the way. If we can get the neck in, then we can start looking into getting some paint and starting that off. And obviously once that's set and we know that, so I'll take the rest of the back off. We're going to leave the back and the neck painted, probably just some matte lacquer finish on that, so it's nice and smooth. But we're going to paint the front with the colours that we're going for. I'm still not going to tell you what they are. I want it to be a bit of a surprise. But I think it's going to look really, really cool. So yeah, that's where we are. So I'm just going to finish off taping up, and tomorrow hopefully we'll glue the neck in. All right. Forgot to mention as well, one thing I have done today is knock out the old plastic horrible nut that was in there. Unfortunately, it was glued in there with quite a bit of glue. I did try and get a standing knife underneath there, just try to loosen it off before I knocked it out. But when I knocked it out, it did take a little bit of the fretboard top off with it. So I have sanded that back as flat as I can. We have got, see if we can get it out of the box. The black nut to go on. Checked all the sizings, they're all the same, so that's pretty good considering that was complete guesswork. But yeah, we'll put that on as well once everything's painted. But that plastic one has literally gone straight in the bin. It is absolutely awful, so we're changing that as well. All right, and we'll catch up with you when it's time to glue the neck in. Morning everyone. Today's the day. Big scary day today. Find out if all the prep work that I've done has actually been worth it or not. So this morning I've stuck a few strings on it just to check and make sure the strings run parallel onto there. I'll just tape that nut on for now, and I'm already really loving the locking tune. This is so much easier. Everything looks okay. Obviously everything's sitting a bit high, so it's not giving me any indications of any adjustments I need to make at this point. It's not what it's for. It's just to make sure that when I do glue the neck in, everything's sort of within reason and the strings run parallel all the way down. Pretty much the same length. So we'll probably do a little bit of filming, maybe some time lapses of this one, and then clamp it up and see how we get on from there. Look. Morning. It's been about 2 weeks since we glued it in, and it is glued in. It's all set nicely. I definitely did not at any point put a dowel in because I was terrified it wasn't going to set. So yeah, did that off camera as well. I'm on that side just in case, you know. Oh well. But as you can see, we are taped off everywhere. We're inside the cavities, the holes for the bridge, all the electronics, we are taped off apart from the front. The neck is taped off and the body is not taped off. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're kind of doing this. We're going to leave the neck as a natural finish and we're going to paint everywhere else. So I guess we'll go and get a base coat on. The paint that we're doing, I'm still not going to say anything, but yeah, we'll see when we get out there. It's going to be a fun one, if not massively stressful.